Welcome back. All right, let us continue our look at teams at the quarter century mark. We're up to the Ottawa Senators. Ottawa's been around middle of the road in terms of their results from 2000-2001 through last season. In the power rankings I did for the regular season, they were 16th. The power rankings I did for the playoffs, they were 21st. They made it all the way to the Stanley Cup final in 2007. They've reached the conference finals twice, 2003 and 2017. And again, this is from 2001 until now. Two conference finals and a Stanley Cup final as well to show for it. So one thing with Ottawa is they're usually good as underdogs. They seem to perform better as underdogs than they do as favorites. And early in the 2000s, they really struggled against Toronto in the playoffs. So there's the chance that we could see Toronto and Ottawa in the playoffs again soon. I cross my fingers for that. Hope that does happen. Now, one point of contention is that this franchise does not have a Stanley Cup win, to which fans will answer, hey, the Ottawa Senators have Stanley Cup wins from before when they were in the NHL, which is true, but there was almost 60 years of nothing in the Ottawa area, and so this Ottawa Senators team shares a name with that previous one, and while they have the banners up at their building, the official record of this franchise is no Stanley Cup wins to this point. For grade, I'm giving them a C+. Giving them a C+ overall. I figure, average in the regular season. They've been in the Stanley Cup final, playoffs 21st. I'll be nice. I'll give them a C+. Now, when we look at their scores from 2000-2001 through until 2023-2024, and again, the cutoff being January 1st of 2001 because that's the start of the millennium. And Alfredson, unsurprising that he's the highest scorer for Ottawa over that time period. 826 games played, 319 goals, 503 assists for 822 points. Jason Spezza, 686 games played, 251 goals, 436 assists for 687 points. Erik Karlsson, 627 games, 126 goals, 392 assists, 518 points. Danny Heatley, just 317 games played, but they were ones filled with goals. 180 goals, 182 assists, 362 points for Heatley. Brady Tkachuk makes the list. 440 games, 162 goals, 187 assists, 349 points. Of course, does not count this year's point totals. Mike Fisher, 628 games played, also 162 goals to go with 175 assists, so 337 points for Mike Fisher. Mark Stone's on the list, 366 games, 123 goals, 188 assists, 311 points. He then went to Vegas, and now everybody knows how good Mark Stone is. Wade Redden, 490 games played, 66 goals, 217 assists for 283 points. Kyle Turris, 407 games, 117 goals, 157 assists, 274 points. Bobby Ryan rounds out the top 10, 455 games, 107 goals, 159 assists, 266 points. So Tkachuk, the only current member of the team that's on the list, but you have to think that 4 or 5 years from now, a lot of their good young players would be on that list if I did this video again at that point. Now, goaltenders, Craig Anderson, unsurprising, he's the leader, a record of 202, 168, and 46, 914 save percentage. Patrick Lalime, a record of 114, 78, and 24 with a 906 save percentage. Ray Emery, 71, 40, and 14 record, 907 save percentage. And Brian Elliott, 59, 45, and 15 record, 903 save percentage for him. So, pretty good goaltending overall. Ullmark, of course, currently their starter. Forsberg's there as well. You have to think Forsberg or Ullmark eventually end up in that wins range. And yeah, we'll see. At least right now, Ottawa, a team that hasn't made the playoffs since that conference final appearance in 2017, they look like a team that could very well make the playoffs this season, which is good news for Ottawa and their fans, and might mean that the revolving door at coach, maybe that's going to slow down. So, since 2000-2001, they've had a lot of coaches. Jacques Martin twice. The second time Martin comes in, of course, is just to try to clean up the mess and figure out, what the path forward for Ottawa should be. I saw him just as much a consultant for the Ottawa Senators when he was coached the second time around as anything else. Sort of the guy who's going to go to the manager and go, so these are the guys you keep, and these are the guys that, maybe. And then Brian Murray was behind the bench as well. He was general manager of this team too. John Paddock, Craig Hartsburg, Corey Closton, Paul McLean, famously Paul McLean, who has not been a head coach, I don't believe, since he left Ottawa, and that's a shame. Dave Cameron, Guy Boucher, Mark Crawford was coach for Ottawa. Some of these, it might be easy to forget. It might be easy to look at that list and go, right, yeah, I forgot. DJ Smith was was the coach for a while. And of course, at the time that he was gone, there was a lot of people saying, well, this is the right move. Travis Green came in. It's been a mixed bag, but Travis Green currently has the team above the playoff line. And I think if you end up getting this team into the playoffs, you earn at least a full year of an underachieving team before you might be looking at your job being on the line. So yeah, Travis Green, the way the team has played under him so far this year, I think giving him some job security, at least a little bit. Now, general manager's been an issue for this team over the years. Marshall Johnston, so at the time that 2001 and beyond arrives, John Muckler, general manager for Ottawa, and that's one that may not be as memorable as some of the others. Brian Murray, as previously mentioned, general manager for Ottawa. Pierre Dorion. Pierre Dorian's an interesting one because I do feel like his fate was kind of tied to what Eugene Melnick's vision was, which was that you're going to get rid of everybody. Everybody goes. You get rid of anybody who wants money, and then you bring in all these young guys, and you build up, and then you have unprecedented success. His words. And I feel like Dorian being out of a job is in part because, what Melnick said didn't come true, and the idea of just dumping everybody didn't work out that well for Ottawa. In fact, I heard during one of the broadcasts yesterday that rebuild is becoming kind of a dirty word. Because of how long rebuilds are taking, general managers are not really... So they're finding different ways to say it, whether it's rearming, retooling, whatever it is. They don't want to say rebuild because they can go on for a very long time. Ottawa being an example. There are others, Chicago, San Jose, Anaheim, and Detroit, Buffalo. So fans, I think rightfully should be kind of concerned about the rebuilds that do full teardowns, Ottawa being one of those cautionary tales. Their current general manager, trying to keep the ship on track, is Steve Staios. And I think Steve's done a decent job with the team thus far. Does he make moves at the deadline to solidify their spot in the playoffs? I would think he does. Team captains, not a long list because Daniel Alfredson was a captain of this team for quite some time. Alfredson, one of the more recognizable of the team, and of course the number one scorer over this time period as well. Jason Spezza was captain, and then Erik Karlsson was captain up until he exits the team. And now Brady Tkachuk is the captain for the Ottawa Senators. Tkachuk, an emotional player. One thing I've always said with Tkachuk is I like his game, but I do feel like the emotions sometimes get away from him. And I wonder if other teams go, okay, we can get Tkachuk to take a penalty here and get on the power play. Because it does feel like teams try to goad him into penalties, and he can fall into that and sometimes get caught up with that side of the game. It's all part of learning as players get older. I would expect that to drop off as he gets older and he starts picking his spots a little bit better. But Ottawa's an interesting team. Not a lot of representation on these lists of players that are currently with the team outside of Brady Tkachuk. But we're going to be seeing names on that board of their current players soon enough. And Jake Sanderson may end up being the best of the bunch in on the blue line. It's going to be between him and Chabot. I think Chabot's been better this season, but yeah, long-term Sanderson is the future on that blue line, I do believe. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Is this the year where Ottawa finally gets back into the playoffs and their drought comes to an end? Let me know your thoughts about that. Anything else Ottawa related you want to discuss, hit like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Thank you guys so much for all your support as always. It's greatly appreciated. I will talk to you again soon.